Yeah, so here we go again. It's Sunday, I'm at the location of Film Club. A bit early, intentionally, to force myself to do this. Because I reckon I've had some shit happen that need talking over. And in general, just life need talking over on a regular basis, in my opinion. So, yeah. I managed to do my laundry. Haven't had a shower in 2 days, but I will be forced to have one tomorrow, and I'll be forced to fold up my laundry because it'll be a new week and I'm out of platinum shirts. Out of anthracite, as I'm wearing platinum today and it's Sunday. So tomorrow is an anthracite day and I ain't got no more remaining, so I'm gonna have to do my laundry, and because I'm changing my shirt, I'm gonna have to do a shower as well. Had a hard time getting up. Well, I had a hard time going to sleep, so I guess that explained the hard time getting up thing. Went to sleep probably about 6 a.m, which is kind of suboptimal. I've had 4 people separately tell me I'm a good person this week, which makes me feel kind of odd, because though cognitively I can accept it, I mean, I was raised proper. I say thank you, hello, etc, please. But emotionally I'm having a real hard time accepting it. Like, for me to be a good person, other people need to be bad people, but my benchmark is myself, so I'm the neutral person. Which means there is still good people and there is still bad people. It's just, I can't see any other benchmark really, so yeah. I helped a person admit themselves to the ER earlier this week. Prior to, well, even post friendship inflation, I would not have called them a friend before that. Now I would call them a friend, but only post inflation friend. Suicidal, self-harm, etc. So yeah, they definitely need to go to hospital, and hospital's there for them. They're there now, I believe, so that's something. And I believe I'd do that for anyone whose name I know, basically. But apparently it's not normal to be doing that for people, even friends. So I find that slightly odd, but who am I to guesstimate what other people find normal? I've driven here a completely separate way that I've only driven once before, worked out rather smoothly, so that's something. Weather's actually pretty bloody warm. Let me check the car for what temperature it'd say. It's 18 degrees centigrade. A couple of days ago we had fridge temperatures outside, 7 degrees centigrade. Sun is shining, clouds spotty. Tangent completely unrelated to the current topic at hand. Well, first off, we were on a tangent anyways with the weather, but now another tangent. As I was leaving the flat, had just brought my rubbish out, was loading my meal prep in the car, which I'm happy to say I managed to do some meal prep, yay. I actually managed to do like 4 double-sized portions meal prep, so that's got me set for the next week. A woman I've seen before, but whose name I don't know, whom I've never talked with, approached me and said, "You got a cigarette?" Not hello, not nothing. And of course I do got cigarettes. I mean, I got one here, but I actually felt the need to deny, which I guess one could call lie, or answer the actual question, which was, "You got a cigarette for me?" which she just didn't articulate. And if someone don't even say hello, I don't know them, why would I give them a cigarette? Like, yeah, smokers are social beings and all. I claim to be one, at least. But just a hello or excuse me or something would be much appreciated in situations like that, because otherwise it's just like, you got a dime, you got a dollar, you got whatever, you got a quid, you got a D-mark, hast du 50 Cent, it's an Euro. Like, people like that I just don't understand, because in the end of the day there is people who manage to, German term would be schnorren, there is no proper English term that I'm familiar with, so manage to get from other people donations, etc., in a friendly manner, and those people are obviously, or seem to be obviously, more willing to give to, because, surprise, they're treating them as humans, not just as a wallet or a packet of cigarettes. Which I find it odd that people, I mean, this woman seemed to be at least in her 40s, perhaps 50s, I wouldn't know. But one would figure she'd have enough life experience by now that she figured out that if you're nice to humans, you get way better off. I mean, that's part of the social conventions of society no one chose to be born into, but we're all in it anyway. So to some degree, we've got to follow them. But in my opinion, that's also unfair toward that woman and from me, because she might have had shit upbringing where she wasn't told to say please, or perhaps even to greet people. And I mistreated her due to that. I wouldn't say mistreat because I simply weren't very forthcoming, but it feels like mistreat, because if she'd approached me nicely, I would have. And realistically, she's not come up to me not nicely by choice. It's just her past, which she ain't got no control over. Back to the person we admitted to ER. They were in a real bad state on Monday. On Tuesday they were still in a real bad state. I didn't see them Wednesday, but they were in a bad state according to friends. On Thursday I actually managed to do some uni work. Tangent again, sorry. Like, have my free project brief signed off by the prof and get some papers I need for applications for my desired company to do my internship at. So I was productive Thursday, but then the person in question texted my study buddy and me, and apparently some other people as well, saying they weren't doing so great. I managed to get them to agree to come meet at the regular pub we all know each other from in the first place. So that worked out. And I do have to say, and I did even tell them this later, had they not come up, I would have likely called the plod, unless we managed to go by hers, because, like, I'm a fellow responsible human, and I wouldn't want to have to carry the burden around of me, knowing I could have done something when I didn't. So yeah, I even told them this. I don't think it harmed the relationship. Then again, I don't think they recall it, because they were completely out of energy and everything. I mean, being fucking depressed and suicidal drain energy like nothing. So I guess that's fair enough. The only bad news about this is they don't recall having made up with their SO, which they had. Good news is the SO is visiting them today. And I do truly believe the SO care for them. Like, when they said, oh, don't give a shit what you do to their SO via text, the SO showed up in the ER. So that's something, I guess. And objectively, in my opinion, for the SO, it would have been better. They would have been better off had they not shown up. But it's not like for them it was a choice. They are emotionally attached to the person in question. Yeah, so I guess I kind of used this whole incident and etc. to not get much done this work. So I still got to work over my curriculum, get together my references, because apparently those are fairly important for applications. I hadn't thought so, because hell, I mean, one could just ask friends and fellows to give one references, which is something I'm not going to do, but I was given one unprompted. Well, I am given one unprompted. I haven't gotten it yet, but it's already written and signed, and I suppose it's in the mail. Who knows? Another tangent, working title Smoke and Mirrors. My current project I'm working on is a project that was signed off on by the prof for using as my free project for uni. Because this is now my 6th semester, but it's the 5th of contents, which is an internship of 4 months full time and a free project which one is supposed to put 180 hours in. I can with good faith say I've already done more than 100 hours on Smoke and Mirrors, but that went this semester, and I reckon I'll ought to get it done with about 180 hours this semester. Work time, not computation time. Because, surprise, for the past 10 days, the computer's been slaving away at it. Just denoising, upsampling, temporal and spatial. Because I guess now we're in an age where we can do that with technology, so I might as well use it. I am slightly concerned that I might get to be too perfectionistic with it. Like, realistically, I'll need it done by the end of the year so the audio people have their time to do it. I got a music producer to do a score and a mastering, and an audio designer to do some audio design. So I'm purely worried about the visuals, and I'm not even giving them any directions. They got complete artistic freedom because, hell, they do their subjects better than I do them. Otherwise, I'd be one of them. So I might as well give them complete creative freedom, as it's an abstract work anyways. It's basically exploring fluid dynamics, like the smoke coming from these coffin nails, etc. I actually shot the main working files, like only 600 gigs or so, 4 months ago. With the post-processing, I'm now at over 9 terabytes of files at the current time. Some of those I'll be able to delete soon enough, and I will have to because I'm running out of space, frankly. There's just like PNG sequence of 40,000 frames, then remap that so it actually uses the full range of brightness of values, and then denoise the remapped ones. Like, I don't need the original sequence no more. I'm happy to just keep the ProRes file. I shot on ProRes 422 4K DCI. Post-processing is 4K DCI, ProRes 422 but 16-bit, or PNG, no compression, 4K DCI, which is like both real suboptimal for space saving, but I do want the quality because I believe with the creative process I'll go through some remapping where the 16-bit will come in handy. With that, I've actually looked at buying some more hardware, like a working SSD, so I can not use hard drives for process like this, because currently for computation time my limiting factor is my limiting factor for computation currently is my drive speed. And apparently SSDs have gotten real cheap. By the way, this is some fun fluid dynamics here. And apparently one can these days get quality like Samsung drives of 8 terabyte 2.5 inch drives for less than $400. Problem is I don't really got the $400, so it's more of a thought experiment because realistically I can't spend what I ain't got. Tangent back to the previous subject. I've noticed that when people are in I don't give a shit mode anymore, I tend to not care about as much to care about money. Though the problem is I still need to be economically viable. But just the day we brought them to the ER, I spent like $60 or so. I mean, of those $60, some of were for my drinks at the pub, that's fine. But I also paid some other people's tabs because we were leaving for the ER and kind of didn't want to have them to have to figure out to pay for their tab. So that cost me like $50. And I ain't too fussed about getting the money back, I guess, which I really should be, but feel wrong. Same thing with actually this all happened on Thursday when we brought them to the ER, and on Saturday I actually dropped by theirs because, surprise, if you're in hospital, visits are good, especially if you're in hospital for mental problems. And I actually got them some food because they do got some eating disorders, and they are supposedly perhaps autistic, which means they are very limited in their food consumption choices. Excuse the person outside the window talking on their phone. So I got them some stuff. Their SO was very helpful with that, because I know they have some dietary preferences, and I asked them for them again, but they ain't in the greatest state to respond to stuff like this, so they didn't even mention they were vegetarian. Well, pescatarian, I guess, because they just don't eat meat. They do eat fish, so I guess they're pescatarian, not vegetarian, but same difference. Otherwise I would have gotten something with some meat, and I'm happy I didn't, I guess. I knew they had gluten intolerance, etc., so I was able to cater for that. That was another $14 and another $5 in parking total that I just spent and didn't want back. Like, when they got out their wallet, I said don't worry about it, just because they have so many problems right now. I wouldn't want to fuss them with this kind of shit. Like, it's just money. Problem is I need money. Like, I currently got $45 in my pocket. Bank account is in the triple digits, but below my happy reserve. Like, I can't afford 2 months of rent at the current time. And that's like more than slightly concerning. I may have to sell some stuff. Like, I got a keyboard to sell. Might even sell some pixels from Counter-Strike, some weapon skins and cases for real money, which I don't like the idea of, because it's easy to be very dodgy. But I guess I'll try my best anyway, because I've got to start liquidating stuff. Like, in a couple of months I got my traffic legal insurance, my Verkehrsrechtsschutzversicherung, renewing, which is going to be another $300, etc. And I mean, diesel ain't getting cheaper. Good news is I'm not in urgent need of diesel, because I still got half a tank of diesel in the car, and I got 40 litres in the back, because I managed to get these NATO 20-litre fuel containers based on the 20-litre Wehrmacht fuel containers, which are really nice to have. Like, I'm so happy that worked out. Like, realistically, they'll have paid themselves off within a 3/4 year if I do minimum driving, assuming I'll refuel in Poland every now and then. Like, 4 times refueled in Poland, and they'll have paid for themselves in diesel. 5 or 6 times, and I'll even have the spout paid, so it's totally worth it. Getting that spout was a bit of a pain, but it ended up working out. Like, the first package never arrived. I believe they may have never sent it, because when I was given the tracking, I was given the same tracking as I had been for the fuel cans, but it was not in the same package. But within a week after mentioning that, I'd had a replacement, so that worked out, because that's like a $20 item, costs as much as a fuel container. Then again, it's brand spanking new, because the fuel containers are for military vehicles, for which you don't need a spout, because well designed, I guess, not for civilian use. Well, not made for civilian use, but made for military use, which means why would you design your fuel filler so you need a spout? Whereas civilian vehicles, so better get some more aerodynamics and don't want that sticking out there. Someone could get hung up on it, etc., etc. Just gonna shut the window because the kid's walking by, and I really don't want to risk getting a kid on audio. There we go. Yeah, like, realistically, helping this person who was in need of help, like, no doubt, will have set me back like solid $80 within the 4 days, so say, we're admitted to hospital, which is really suboptimal. Like, I should care about money more, I just don't. And I guess if I have to sell some stuff I've gathered and collected and I've had since before it was valuable, I got to sell that to keep going, because expenses happen. Realistically though, if I sell the stuff, I should do stuff like buy myself that 8TB SSD, because it's going to increase my working speed, and waiting for computation time is going to decrease waits for computation time by a lot, like significant amount, so it's probably worth considering that. I just really don't want to sell stuff I can't. I like the stuff I got, even though some of it's just pixels. Even though some of it's just pixels that have grown to more than 30 times the value they were when I bought them. Which is like nuts, because I only bought them with video game money, and now you can sell them for like 20 times the amount of video game money in real money. Like, would have been a wise investment choice. And again, at that age, I didn't have no capital for investment, same as I do not now. And that market is eventually going to burst, so I've already sold some stuff in the past for not real money, but I managed to buy myself a VR headset of it, which I'm not using enough to justify keeping, so I guess I might as well sell that. Thing is, I really don't like selling stuff I already got. Like, I guess that's the hoarding tendencies. I mean, my paternal grandma was a hoarder, suffered from Alzheimer's, etc. And my dad didn't grow old enough to suffer from Alzheimer's. Did also have hoarding tendencies. I certainly have hoarding tendencies, and who knows, I might even live long enough to suffer from Alzheimer's. Yay. I mean, the good news about shit like Alzheimer's is you don't realise you got it, so could be worse, I guess. Yeah, I've done my meal prep earlier this week, back to that subject, which I just inserted as a tangent earlier. I've done a whole kilo of cow, like a faux fillet, cut it up into smallish lumps, fried those in the pan first, and then made a nice sauce with them, and a lot of stuff like some Merlot red wine, Coleman's mustard, honey, sugar, sriracha sauce. Got at least two, three other things I ain't mentioned, but the sauce worked out alright. I mean, it tasted right enough for me. With that, I made approximately a kilo of rice. Most of the rice went into the meal prep containers. Like, I call them Tupperware, but they ain't. They're the Emsa containers, because you can get those easily, and they're standardised size, and I like their closing mechanism. And of the rest, I made egg fried rice. Oh yeah, I also put some egg in the sauce. Yeah, it's been draining week, but I haven't gotten much closer to being able to sustain my own life economically. And I guess that's the bad news for me, is an application for internships, etc. would have actually contributed toward my self-sustaining economically. But I prefer helping that person in need. Like, as long as they can talk with me and I can figure out they're in need, and perhaps I know their name, or didn't even know their surname before, so meh. As long as I've talked with them and talk with them and figure out they're in need, I want to help. But it's just not sustainable in this society. Like, I don't get it, because unalivement voluntarily is not an option. Like, unnatural voluntary unalivement, that's societally not accepted. But supporting people so they do not unnecessarily voluntarily unalive themselves is also not economical, which is like, you got these two coins, but you can't make two out of them if you want that. I mean, I'm happy to help people who are looking at unaliving themselves, but like, long term is not sustainable. Like, unless I win the lottery, which I do not partake in, or I come across a billionaire who's willing to give me like $1 million or 5 or 50, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know. Like, I mean, 100 grand is already a lot of money, but 100 grand ain't enough to set you up for life. Realistically, the way I've been functioning, I would have to be set up for life to be able to help people, just because, surprise, take a lot of energy and I ain't got all that much. And if I spend a day on bureaucracy to sustain my life in the society, even if it's just applying for unemployment benefits, take me more than a week's worth of energy. So, like, realistically, if I'm not set up for life eventually, I'll not be able to help people. Which is like pretty bad news, because it really fulfills me. Like, I just want to help people. It's not viable. Not sustainable. Helping is not sustainable. Probably do that as title for this. And thank you for the one person who's still watching. Thank you very much. Like, it really helped me to just know someone is watching. And it could be anyone. Just like nice. In fact, it could be the person I delivered to the ER earlier this week. I think that's highly improbable, but it is possible. In which case, you're welcome. Pay it forward. Help someone else when they need help, when you're in the position to help them. Help is not sustainable. And here I am, going to film club, in which I do voluntary work of running the bar, just so the film club don't lose money. Which is also help, but to a lesser need party, I guess. Well, I mean, the film club would also cease to exist, same as a person about to unalive themselves, so I guess it's about the same kind of need. But yeah, someone else would hopefully spring in and do it, because who knows, I might not be in this town in a year and a half, in a year even, who knows. Yeah, it's kind of sad. But that's reality, haha. We don't got much say over reality, do we? Or society as a whole. I mean, it's the same as cultural issues. Those do change eventually. But most people are unlikely to witness and or notice major cultural drifts in their lifetimes. I mean, hell, boomers witnessed the major cultural drift of sexuality being acceptable no matter what it is, and again, they were also what set that movement off. So they actually saw the harvest, the fruit of their planting, which is like nice. I'd wish I'd be able to see something like that in my lifetime. Who knows, I might, but my hope for that ain't too great. One last tangent before I end this, because I've got to go for film club in like 15 minutes. This is a constant frame of reference for these videos, me in the car, surprise. But because the car's parked on a road with a lot of camber today, the small line in the middle of the screen that come with iOS 17 actually show them crooked. Though this is certainly more straight than if it were like this, which is when the phone says straight. But I don't care about actual level, I care about car level, which is about here. It's fucking magic. Like, this is straight, the phone just don't know it. Because the car don't have enough mass in comparison to the Earth to have enough of a gravitational field for the accelerometers in this device to notice it. Fucking nuts. Then again, we're at the point where we can have a device such as this with more computational power than it took mankind to land on the moon, with accelerometers and all that kind of technology that was something you could only dream of back then. Well, I guess there was accelerometers, they were just fucking huge. All in a small package that fit in your trouser pockets. Well, in trouser pockets for me. The sex trouser pockets are not created equal. Which is not my fault, so... And I can't really affect it, so, well... Guess it's just a matter of time before people either care enough about trouser pockets, female sex people, to buy trousers with pockets, or I guess it won't change because they're accepting of it. Like, that's a fight I can't fight because I have no say in it. Like, my trousers got enough pockets. Anyways, I hope you managed to help someone, though it might not be economically sustainable. Stay safe, see you around. Cheerio.